The leatherback turtle is one of the most extraordinary creatures in the ocean. They are reptiles like tortoises, lizards and snakes, and other animals that we are used to on land, but they live in the open sea. As such, they have some very special and unique features. The leatherback is the largest species of turtle. The largest ever found was in excess of 916 kilograms. That's 2,290 pounds. Leatherbacks range all over the world's seas and have the perfect hydrodynamic body form, large broad shoulders, tapering down to a perfect point at the rear of what we call the carapace or the shell. Their body form is smooth and skin-covered, so that they glide through the water very gracefully. The leatherback is also very different in what it eats: jellyfish. You can imagine how hard it would be for 1,200 pounds of turtle eating nothing but jelly. But that's indeed what they have chosen as their primary food source.
Trinidad is a very unique country. It supports a large population of leatherback sea turtles. Most places in the world can't say that. They don't have leatherbacks. If they have turtles, they often don't even have leatherbacks. And so again, Trinidad is very unique in that. Every night between about February and about July, again depending on the particular year, but the leatherbacks swim all the way down to Trinidad to nest. And they can come from as far north as Newfoundland, as far north as the North Atlantic off the European coast, to this very area to nest. So Trinidad supports nesting by leatherbacks from all over the Atlantic Ocean.
Dr. Scott Eckert, who directs the Marine Sea Turtle Research Program at Hub SeaWorld Research Institute, is dedicated to studying these ancient species. He serves as a coordinator of the U.S. Pacific Sea Turtle Recovery Team and, along with his colleagues, is at present tracking female leatherbacks from nesting beaches along the Pacific coast of Mexico and from the Caribbean island of Trinidad.
One of the most amazing things about the leatherback is her behavior at sea. They're one of the deepest diving animals we've ever known. We've recorded leatherbacks diving in excess of 1,200 meters on a single dive and staying down for as long as 42 minutes. We think they're diving deeply while they're down in these warm tropical waters to feed on jellyfish. And what we're discovering with some of our other work is that when they go up to the north cold waters, they don't dive very deeply. Now this suggests to us that they probably feed on jellyfish near the surface in the north waters and jellyfish down deep when they're here in the tropics. We also know that they never stop swimming. Here's an animal who swims continuously, whether she's sleeping, whether she's eating, and so we've never recorded them actually stopping in the water for more than a few seconds at any one time. That's an extraordinary capacity for any animal, and particularly for a reptile.
Leatherbacks come to Trinidad and Tobago every summer to nest. They come up onto the nesting beaches only at night, because at night it's much cooler, and they won't be as uncomfortable as they would be during the heat of the day. Also, there are less animals out there at night that might attack them, so they can hide their eggs on the beach. She comes up the beach under cover of darkness, and she begins the nesting process by preparing what is called a body pit. This body pit refers to an area where she has swept away the sand from the surface, so she can get down to the firm, wet sand underneath to dig a hole. She sweeps with all 4 flippers to remove that soft sand from the surface. Then she proceeds to dig a hole with her hind flippers. Imagine a 1,200-pound creature dragging herself out of the water and having to dig a hole in the sand, but not being able to see what she is doing. She does it all by instinct, and all by feel, and it's not an easy process. She will dig the nest hole as far as she can reach, so bigger turtles will lay a slightly deeper nest. Once that hole is down about 70 centimeters, or just about as far as she can reach, she will lay a clutch of eggs in the hole. Now the average is 85 eggs per clutch, or 85 viable eggs per clutch.
You'll notice often at the end of egg laying that a leatherback will lay a whole series of small eggs. They're the only species we know that does that consistently. The purpose of those small yolkless eggs is still somewhat questionable. The scientific community hasn't sorted it out yet, but we're working on it. Once she's finished egg laying, she'll begin to fill in the nest cavity. And you'll notice that she very gently lays sand on the top of the eggs. But once she gets a little bit of sand on top, she pushes it down very, very firmly because she wants that sand to remain as a defense or a barrier over the top of the eggs. When the eggs hatch, 60 days later, the embryos, or the hatchlings I should say, will remain in the nest for about a week until they're all stretched out and they've gotten out of the egg, they've stretched their muscles, and they're ready to crawl. Then they'll begin to pull at the top or the roof of the nest cavity, and they'll pull it in on themselves.
Then the tunneling begins, and it's a cooperative effort. All the hatchlings must work together to dig out of this nest. Once they get near the surface, if it's daytime, it's still very warm, and so they won't come out until the sun temperatures cool off, and they know they are not going to be damaged by crawling across a hot beach or eaten by diurnal predators. When nightfall occurs, they boil out of the nest and head for the ocean. Instinctively they sense danger and dash frantically toward the sea. It's an amazing thing to watch.